Okay, good to go.
All right, welcome everybody.
Hello,
Very
welcome.
excited. Today we're going to talk about love, my favorite subject. But it's going to be interesting because we're going to talk about how we love ourselves through how we communicate and how we are communicated with, which is really one and the same, but we don't see it or hear it that way most of the time. So we're going to really explore that function. And we do have new people joining us. And for those who are watching this on video, you're welcome to join us. Just send an email to christinelenick@yahoo.com. And she will get your email and include you on the email list that opens up every other Sunday morning. And you'll have all that information. So welcome everyone. I am very excited and I am ready to turn it over to you, Chris, because I know you're busting at the seams here.
Okay, let me get everybody muted here. Let's get everybody muted for background noise. Okay, we're ready to go. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks again for choosing to join us. As you know, we fundamentally teach people that you are perfect and magnificent as you are. And that on earth, people use the term God for that. And it is a glorious way to reflect for each of us to look at how we relate to all that we are, every experience of ourselves. And that is what love for self is. And so we teach self-love. We teach you to look at how you choose in every moment of your life to relate to the truth that as you are in that moment, you are perfect and magnificent. And it is a momentary expression of your heart as a way for you to learn about how you choose to love and to learn about your power as all that you are. So today we're going to talk about communication as from the perspective of how you communicate how you want to be loved or how you're choosing to be loved. And so the core of this is fundamentally that every moment of your life is a conversation with yourself. Every single moment. It's just you momentarily, as God, as all, manifest that moment of interaction, no matter what that moment looks like, in order to learn, in order to answer a question you're asking, in order to understand what it means to be God. So it is this glorious, and I say glorious conversation with yourself, because when you accept that no matter what that moment looks like, can be a difficult moment, can be a joyous moment, can be just an average moment, it is a conversation. It is a way that your heart, I use the word heart for what you would call soul, your heart is speaking to you, is helping you understand how you are choosing to love. And I want to start with first having us look at the moments where it's someone else talking to us and we are making a choice how we are going to respond. Because that's the most common experience that we have, where we look at the experience as if someone else is talking to us, and we sometimes make a choice to say, I don't want anything to do with that person. I don't like the way they spoke with me. I don't like the way they act. I don't like the things they're saying. And we put up a wall. Even though in that powerful moment of conversation, your heart is trying to reach you to get you to look at something. And because it's coming in a way that's a little more difficult, we struggle with it and we don't know what to do. And so what I want to encourage everybody to do and to understand is that when you stand openly before that conversation, and you accept it as such. In other words, you accept it as, okay, I am to hear something. Something is trying to reach me. Some message, some understanding about myself is trying to reach me. Then you allow yourself to peacefully engage with that moment. And I say peacefully because you can then make a choice. If it is highly charged conversation, you can make the choice to say, you know, I understand that that's one way to share that thought with me. And let's say someone's yelling at you and you just want out of there. So what you say to yourself, to your heart, is I understand that's one way out of millions that we could have this conversation. But right now, that doesn't give me joy. That's not peaceful for me. So I'm going to leave and I'll come back when I feel we can converse peacefully. So what you do there is you bring down the level of, I don't know, energy that's going on, and you engage with your heart by recognizing it, by saying, I understand, heart, that's one way to converse with me. But it's not how I want to be loved, because that's what your second part of the sentence is saying. You're saying, I understand that is one way to engage with me, but that is not how, that doesn't bring me joy as a way for us to talk about this, as a way for us to get through this. So I'm going to go away now, but heart, I will come back and have this conversation when we can do it peacefully. So that second piece is you're telling your heart, you're giving your heart guidance on how you want to be loved. And so that is really what our conversation is about today, is about understanding that every moment of your conversation, when you say something to anybody, essentially what you're doing is giving your heart guidance on how I want to be loved. There's millions of ways to be loved, but this is how I want to be loved. This is what gives me joy. So you're constantly directing your soul, you're constantly directing your heart to understand, okay, heart, in this glorious experience of life that I have manifested here, this is how I want to be loved. And so recognizing that every moment of conversation is that, lets you step back and think through, make a choice about, what gives me joy in interaction with others? What ways is it joyful for me? What ways does it matter for me? What ways is it meaningful for me? And that's what you express back in your conversation to others and in your choices. Because in the moment, in the one I just talked about, where something is very agitating and it's coming at you, and you say to your heart, or, let's say it's obviously it's a person, X person, X, I understand that is something that you're choosing to communicate to me that way. You're yelling at me, okay? This isn't a way that is peaceful for me, that is joyful for me. So I'm going to take a break. So you then take the break, but now your heart knows from here forward how you will be loved. Now I want to say one last piece of this to share is to think also about how you communicate all the time to others. So focusing on the kind of tone you use, and then the words you use. And you could look across particular people in your life, whether it's, a parent, a child, a coworker, do you change the tone that you use when you communicate with people? And do you change the kinds of words that you use, the way that you speak? Because you can look at each of those and ask yourself, what kind of guidance am I giving my heart about how I want to be loved. And you can then begin to make different choices. So if you tend to be very strict in the way, let's say you talk to your child, or at work, you're a manager and you're really strict in the way you talk to people, you can look at that and you can say, is that how I want to be loved? Because the way you talk to others will be felt in your heart and in your life. Because fundamentally, this is a conversation. This lifetime, this glorious experience you have is a complete and total conversation with yourself. And so pay attention to it, interact with it, and recognize that it is a conversation of guidance to your heart about how you will be loved and how you want to be loved. And as you change that conversation in those moments, the manifestation of your life and the manifestation of the conversations will change. So as you communicate to your heart, let's say that, look, I want to have this conversation, but it's not joyful this way. It'll be joyful when we sit across and we each share what we're thinking and feeling peacefully. Well, then from there forward, your heart knows, oh, this is how she wants to be loved, and will bring you more conversations like that. Mare?
Thanks, Chris. We live in a world where we're surrounded by people that we communicate with all the time. We have relationships all the time, everywhere. A relationship with a parent, a relationship with a partner or a spouse, a relationship with a child, a relationship with employees that we work with, coworkers, and even people that we cross paths with on the street. Every relationship matters. Every communication you have with every single person matters. If a conversation makes you uncomfortable, the first place you look at is within yourself, even if it was the other person making that comment. Now, when we have relationships that are very close, let's talk about partners, spouses. We live in a world where sometimes everything is wonderful and, the communication is easy. And sometimes you're facing challenging circumstances in your home, in the world around you, and it impacts the relationship you have. It does not mean that the communication should reflect the circumstance. The relationship should reflect love, how you want to be loved. So listen to the words that are being shared with you. And if they're being shared in a way that is unhappy, uncomfortable, sad, whatever it is, step back and say, and you can say this out loud, I understand how you're feeling. I do want to explore this with you, but let's wait 15 minutes, a half an hour. Let's come back to this when we're both more peaceful so that we can communicate in a more loving way. Of course, that is ideal. Can we do this all the time? We are people with emotions. We react to the world very quickly. But as we get into a pattern of behavior, that is a positive thing. The other thing you should listen to is how you communicate. Sometimes we get angry at something because we have a headache, we're making dinner, and the child comes in and interrupts us, and we're just short fused. When you lash out, your anger is really for yourself, not towards the person you are lashing out at. So take a breath. Take a moment every time you're going to respond to someone and ask yourself, or just calm down, but ask yourself, how will I respond in a kind and loving way? Because that is what you want back from that person. And you have to be able to create an energy within yourself of what you will allow and what you allow yourself to experience in the expression of thought. Those of you who know me are aware that I have a rather challenging experience with my mother. My mom is now 93 years old, but very alert, has a very full life, and is a total narcissist. I may have mentioned this before. And when I get on the phone with her, she doesn't even say hello. She just starts to talk. And she talks about the neighbor across the hall and the person down here and what this one was wearing. And it's like chaotic. And she just likes to hear herself talk. And I have found myself becoming more and more silent in my communication with my mother because A, it's boring, I'm not interested, and B, she never asks me about myself. And in the rare moments that she does, I'm halfway through a thought when she interrupts me to tell me something else that she's thinking about because she's really not listening. I have learned in this relationship to simply say to her, Mom, maybe I should call you when you would like to let me talk to you. Maybe we should talk at another time. Or, Mom, it sounds like you had a really busy day. Let me talk for a few minutes. Let's put a timer on. Something. I haven't figured out the solution. That's the funniest part because the pattern is all the years of my life, and that's a long life. I'm just saying that we have to learn how to receive and exchange communication. And of course, when I hang up, I'm agitated. I'm not going to deny that. That is real. But at the same time, my mother says things like, stop treating me like an old lady. Well, you can ask Chris, who I talk to every day, that I lately, since my last birthday especially, have been complaining that I'm feeling older. I have to start paying attention to that. I have to stop talking about that. I'm not loving myself when I talk about my aging and my limitations. So I'm learning, and we're learning all the time. Chris and I are learning all the time. It's fascinating to maintain relationships with people, but to forget that we really are maintaining the most important relationship with self. And that's where you have to go. And that is where I am working on because I'm listening so hard. I listen to what my children say to me. I listen to what my friends say to me, but I can't be choosy. I have to listen to what my mother says to me or somebody I don't like so much says to me equally. You can't choose what you want to hear. You have to hear everything. And then you start to grow and change.
We'll sleep here.
All right, Chris, anything you want to add to that?
I think just the key to this about self-love is one, recognizing that every single moment, every thought, every word, every action is a choice of how you love you. And embracing that with peace and then engaging with it. And it's just like the most fun thing ever to actually realize that every single thing, the way it happens, is your heart helping you, guiding you, giving you an answer. Ask a question and then watch for 24 hours, 48 hours. Just listen to people around you. The answer will be there. It will come. It will be in all kinds of ways. And it's glorious. And then just understanding that how you speak, how you react back gives your heart the direction that it needs. So, it's kind of like, sometimes we have people we interact with and we think, well, they should just know that I would not like that. Well, how are they supposed to know unless you tell them? And so your heart is the same way. Your heart that manifests your life just waits for the direction from you. And that direction comes from your thoughts, your words, and your actions. So give your heart direction. Let your heart know, this is how I want my marital relationship to be. This is how I want. Even start by just having that private conversation with yourself, with your thoughts. And let that begin to just infuse you before you're even ready, maybe to say it to your partner, your spouse, your lover, your family member, whoever it is. Start with yourself and have that conversation, because you are giving your heart direction. Remember, thoughts, words, or actions. So you can just start with your thoughts and clarify for yourself how you want to be loved. And then slowly but surely, you'll start expressing that to others. And then you'll start acting on it when the heart is saying something in a very different way to you, and you need to take that space of, I understand that's one way to love me, but here's what I want to choose. So I just really encourage people to just understand that self-love is unlocking the joy that you are. And it is this unbelievable experience. And you have the key. You hold the key. Your partner doesn't. Nobody can give you joy. Nobody can fill you with love. They can only fill you to the extent you have already chosen that for yourself. So as you choose to love yourself, as you choose to tell your heart what gives you joy, then the experience that you manifest outside you can be at that same level, in that same way. So it's just this glorious experience, but it is an active one. It is an active one. And that is another key to this. You can sit and wait, you can sit and pray, you can sit and do a lot of things. But the 24/7 other moments of your life are your choice. They are how you are choosing to love and be loved. Are there any questions?
Or you can chat if you're uncomfortable speaking.
Yeah, the chat is fine.
So while we wait for a moment, I do want to say that every experience we have is a form of communication. If you're in a car accident, that still is your heart talking to yourself. If you are, I don't know, every single thing if you hurt yourself, if you develop an illness, that is your heart talking to you. There is a lesson, that is a communication of how you are loving yourself. So pay attention to every experience you're having, because it is a form of communication. Communication isn't limited to words that are spoken. It is actions, it is experiences, it is everything that happens around us and within us all the time. So as you really grow in that love, that will be extraordinary. And we do have a question. What if we lose, we get angry? How do we talk to our heart?
What if we lose, like lose an event?
Lose control, I imagine, or
oh,
just feel that we're not staying in a centered place. We get angry. How do we talk to our heart when we get angry?
With acceptance, because the anger is real. Something is upsetting you. Something is triggering you. So the place to start is to accept that there is something very powerful going on that I am having this reaction to. And then take a couple deep breaths and begin to go through, I would start probably with self-talk. If I was in an interaction with another person and I found myself getting angry, as always, I'm very aware of my words all the time. So I would be very aware of the words that I was using, and I would, just as I'm talking about today, I would start to pay a lot of attention from head to mouth if I'm engaged with someone in that moment. If I'm getting angry, but I'm not in an engagement, then it is through a self-talk process of first, okay, I accept the fact that I feel really enraged about this. And then I would begin to ask myself, what is this really about? Because it's always about your heart trying to get your attention. And when your emotions are so high, Your heart is working harder. It has escalated to get your attention to the choices you're making about how you love. So I would really begin to ask my heart, all right, heart, I get it. You're trying to reach me. You are trying to get my attention, because once I acknowledge to my heart that it is trying to get my attention, it doesn't have to do it anymore. It is just like the child who is screaming, knocking their milk over, or writing on the wall. The minute the parent finally looks at them and engages with them, they can stop creating havoc. But then understanding needs to start. Then understanding and interpreting what's going on. Why am I feeling this anger? Where is it coming from? And then begin to work with it. And then some things I do often is, if I don't know what the answer is right then, I just ask my heart. I say, okay, heart, I know you're trying to reach me. I know you're trying to help me understand this. I want to have clarification from somebody in the next 24 hours. And then I just listen and I let it go and I listen.
Any other questions? Saj, you
Is
want
there
to speak?
anybody? Yeah. I had a question.
Okay.
I understand what you're trying to explain in this about the heart, but I'm understanding the whole process. But when I'm coming to like a practical life, whenever I have to apply for such things, in anger, see, a situation arises. For example, a situation arises when I'm with somebody, and something happens that the other person's words hurt me, hurt my heart. And of course, the heart feels pain, it feels hurt, and it feels anger. Now, the thing is, I can explain to my heart, but in the emotion of anger, what if I also sometimes blurt out some words which I know are going to hurt the other person? Because in retaliation it happens. So it's like both the persons are being hurt, and I can actually see, and it is not meant to be, it shouldn't meant to be. Like, I'm sure the other person doesn't mean to hurt me, because whatever the other person has been saying to me is because of her own conditioned childhood, or whatever her past is. That's why the emotions are coming to me. And but I allowed it to be, my heart to feel it, and I got hurt. And in retaliation, I did the same opposite. I hurt the person also. I was hurt myself. I hurt the person. In anger, in emotion, everything became immediately from good, it goes to worse. It goes to a negativity, a negative emotions on both sides. And then once the words are out in the air, they cannot be returned back. You can't just take them back. It's like the damage has already been done. So I just don't know how to control the situation. I'm aware, I'm seeing what's happening, but I don't know how to handle it.
So in life and in existence, for every action, there is an immediate reaction. That's just science, right? When we feel attacked,
Right.
we go into attack mode. It is what the body
Right.
does. It is what the heart does. It is what the brain does. But if you could teach yourself, and this takes time and it takes practice, to simply choose to say to the person who insulted you or said something hurtful, and really, like you say, didn't mean to, it just came out. And rather than react equally, you step back and say, what made you say that? Why did you say that to me? Because it offers you an opportunity to learn in the moment what that person is thinking, and it makes the other person suddenly become aware of themselves and how they're loving themselves through their words to you. And most times you'll find that that other person is going to say, oh, I didn't mean it the way you understood it. Wait, let's talk about this, or I'm sorry, or something. But rather than have that reaction to match, you're simply wanting to learn. If you put yourself in a mode of always wanting to learn why you're having this experience, you always ask a question. And the question is, why did you say that to me? Why do you feel that way? Whatever comes out of your mouth will be perfect, but it will allow a little space. And in that space, you're still going to have emotion, but that person may come back and give you an answer that your heart needs to hear, or their heart needs to hear as well. Because there are so many things, you know, until we walk in somebody else's moccasins through life, we don't know what another person's experience is. You know, we're all sharing right now globally a pandemic. And we're having our own individualized experiences, and we feel sorry for ourselves, and we're getting a little depressed, and we're bored, and we're doing this and we're doing that. But multiply that by the billions who live here, and everybody thinks that their experience is an individual experience, but it is a shared experience. A person's anger towards you is their anger towards themselves. And if you can maintain enough control in that moment to say, why did you say that? A conversation can ensue without building and building and building the passionate rage that grows from two people arguing.
I'd like to add one thing. Very simply, there is no other. There is no other. Take your face in any moment of time and place it on that person that you're conversing with. You're having a conversation with yourself. And so if that person is talking to you and hurting you, ask yourself how you hurt yourself. In other words, look at your own thoughts about yourself, not being good enough, not being accomplished enough, not achieving enough, not whatever. Those are all conversations of seeing yourself as less, judgment, and feel pain. They create pain in your heart. So is it a surprise that we manifest these momentary interactions with ourselves where the heart is showing you through something that's painful to hear that you're causing pain for yourself in the way you love yourself? And so it's a gift. It hurts in that moment to hear it that way, but put your face on their face, because there's nobody else here but you, as God, having this glorious experience of learning. What does it mean to be God, to be in acceptance of yourself as perfect as you are?
Before we start the meditation, I have one thought that I'd like to share. When Chris and I started this journey, we spoke maybe 100 times a day. Everything that was happening, we would call each other and share it in order to learn from it. If you could find one person that you feel very connected to, and it doesn't have to be your partner, a friend, somebody you're very close to who understands this type of conversation, and share with them even an argument. So-and-so said this to me. What do you think I needed to learn from this? It allows in that partnership, conversation, communication, and even a greater understanding. Because sometimes when we're alone, it's very, very hard to really separate our emotions from our knowing. Our knowing is always there, and our emotions are always there. But if you feel hurt or insulted, to come out of that darkness and come into the light, share it with somebody that you trust, who will speak with you with greater without that emotional connection to the situation. And you can walk away and say, oh, I get it. I'm going to work on that. It is extraordinary. Every question you have somebody to partner with. So we have questions still coming in. How to respond even while we understand that it's my heart showing something.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's,
I
go
I mean,
ahead.
that is to use the terminology, I can understand, because it just recognizes that that's one way to speak about something. I can understand that's one way to talk to me about something. I can understand that viewpoint. But here's the viewpoint that brings, is more peaceful for me. Let's talk about this. The I can understand words are very, very important, because there's no attack against the manifestation of yourself that is speaking to you. So I can understand that's one choice of how we could talk about this topic. So get those words, I can understand, very much into your vocabulary, and start there, and then direct the conversation in a way that's peaceful for you. Those 3 words are very, very, very important.
All right, we're running a little late. I would like to do this meditation because I think it'll be very, very powerful for each of us. So make yourselves comfortable. Have a sip of water if you have it with you. And we are going to go into our own hearts today, as we are always sitting in there, but are not always aware of it. All right. So I'm going to invite you now to please close your eyes and inhale deeply and hold it. And when you're ready, release your breath. And once again, inhale deeply, hold it, and release your breath. And do it third time, and hold it as long as you can. And as you release your breath, imagine you are in the most beautiful space upon the earth that makes you comfortable, that brings you joy. And be aware, it can even be in your bed. It could be outdoors or indoors. A place that brings you great peace and healing. And feel your body relax. Feel yourself relax and grow heavier and heavier. And wherever you are, release all thoughts. Be aware of the comfort of your environment. Feel your body in its weight, for we have chosen this physical experience in this lifetime. And feel your body grow heavier. And as your body grows heavier, feel yourself begin to rise. Feel the separation of the physical and the spirit. We are one in all moments, but we do journey as our body rests. Allow your body to rest. Feel your body heavy and feel your being light until you see yourself floating above yourself. And as you float, I invite you to stand beside yourself so that you are looking upon the physical you have chosen in this lifetime. And I invite you to love it. Love your body in this moment and in all moments. Look upon the magnificence of your physical experience, the strength of your muscles, the hardness of your bones, the heart that pumps the blood through every part of you. the brain that has all memory, all thought, all knowing. Accept your body in its magnificent perfection and love it. And in a moment, I will ask you to turn around away from your body. And as you do, bring forth someone with whom you have had a challenging experience, a challenging conversation. On the count of 3, you will turn around and they will be standing before you. 1, 2, 3. Turn around and look upon the face of someone who has said words that were hurtful or creates actions that affect you deeply in a negative way. And ask that person's soul what you are here to learn from what they have said. And listen to the answer. Hear it. Absorb it. Choose to remember the message. And now, tell this person that this is not how you choose to love yourself through this type of communication, but you would love to learn in peace, in balance, and in absolute acceptance, and you will do the same. Share this. And I invite you to embrace this challenging person with love, because you love yourself and they are you. You are learning what it is that they are here to teach you. Allow it to be. And now they leave. Send them off with love and grateful thanks. And as they walk away, face another who has created a challenge for you in any way, whether it's conversation or behavior, someone with whom you are challenged. And do the same. What are you here to teach me? And when you hear the words, absorb them. Your heart is teaching you. Remember this. And then tell this being, thank you, but this is not the way I choose to love myself. Tell them that you would love to communicate from a place of peace and balance and acceptance. For that is how I choose to love myself. And then hold them in your arms and thank them for all that they are here to teach you, and let them go. And now I invite you to face your physical body again. Turn around and look upon your body. And ask your body, what is it here to learn in this lifetime? And listen. Every ache and pain, every bump and bruise, Everything is here to teach you something about how you love yourself. Learn from this. Listen. Communication is listening. And as the magnificent soul that you are, choose to remember what you've learned today and know that you will return here to meet with others with whom you have conflict so that you can learn and grow and accept what you are here to learn in this lifetime. And once again, feel your energy rise up and float above your body. And then slowly sink into the physical experience that you are. Feel the weight once again upon you. Feel yourself here upon the earth in your physical body. Feel the weight. And accept it, for you have chosen it. And it is magnificent. It brings joy. It brings pleasure. Appreciate it. We are spiritual beings in a physical experience. Allow the physical expression of self to always open up and flower. And now I invite you to wiggle your fingers and toes to bring life back into the body and allow the merge of oneness to return. And take 2 deep breaths. And as you release the last one, open your eyes and rejoin us. Welcome back, everyone.